Welcome, gamers, to episode 1 of Dune Spice Wars. Dune Spice Wars is, of course, on the planet Arrakis. If you wanted to sort of get any sort of background information about the game, about the different options, etc., I did an episode 0, which is not a non-gameplay video. This will be getting into the gameplay, but also explaining, I guess, the mechanics and also the resources and sort of how they all sort of collide in. I think a lot of that resource explanation will be best served as we play the game. I'll be able to then sort of explain how they all interlock and sort of control control your expansion in the game as well. So anyway, Dune Spice Wars, pretty amazing game. A lot of different ways of playing the game. But before I get started, I do want to thank Shiro Games for sponsoring this series. Shiro Games are the developers of the game. So here they are in through here. And so they are sponsoring it. So if you have any qualms at all about my objectivity, just be aware that this is sponsored content, but I'm not under any obligation to say one thing or another. I can basically sort of, just as long as I show the game, I can do whatever I like and I can say whatever I like. So let's just get into it. We're just going to play a single player game. We are going to be playing Conquest mode back in through here. Now it's going to probably come up with one of the ones last played. I'm going to go no, because we're going to start again. Now we only can play one of the 4 great houses in this case, and House of Kaz has just come into the game. Again, if you're wanting the backstory, please have a look at episode 0. It's sort of all in there. I should have indexes. I haven't put them in yet, but they will be there by the time that goes live, I would hope, as to where you can find different things. If you're trying to sort of get very specific information about the lore or about the way a certain map plays or how it sort of does work, or not map, the ways of playing. Anyway, House of Kaz is very honourable, a bit like House of Treaties in that sort of sense. They're very much about sanctuary and about garden resorts. They come from a jungle world, so we'll just get into it anyway. But you can see there the one negative is that they cannot betray a faction in truce. So if they have a truce, they have to basically stay with that faction, like you'll not betray them anyway. And so this is actually House of Kaz. We're going to change this one to YouTube. I'm sort of tempted to play it on easy, simply so I can sort of get through a fair number of things without the game getting too bogged down in fighting, but the fighting will be more interesting. What do we do? Easy or normal? Look, I'll put it on normal. I am wanting to sort of move through the aspects of this sort of like this procedural campaign at a fair pace. Hopefully this won't bog us down too much. Let's just see how we go with normal. If I go back to easy, easy we get, what do we end up getting? Has no military or economic advantage. It will develop slower and be gentle with the player. It's the perfect difficulty for discovering the game at your own pace. It just sounds a little bit too weak. Normal is basically everything, just they're not going to pick on you. Everything's sort of even with the way that the game actually does sort of play out. Look, let's just play on normal. I think that's probably what a lot of you that are looking for the gameplay will be wanting to evaluate the gameplay as such. So let's do it that way. There is also, of course, hard and insane, where the AI does start to get advantage. But we'll just play it on normal. Settings, we'll just have a quick look in through here. Actually, that is the settings that we're just looking at through this other side. Now, importantly, at 5,000 hegemony, a single Kazi village can be turned into a garden resort. I'll explain what these things are when we get to this point, and we can also then create what's called a champion, where we get extra hegemony by killing other players. These are both fairly expensive in terms of this Solari, which is the money in the game. At 10,000 hegemony, we get a bit more. So anyway, let's just go through. So faction bonuses are surrounded neutral villages become sanctuary. They cannot be attacked by other factions. Now that's going to be difficult for us to surround these in the maps that we're playing in this one. So that probably won't be a massive benefit, but we'll see how we go. See if we can actually sort of get something along those lines. And we gain 1 authority production per sanctuary. Okay, there we go. So villages adjacent to a sanctuary gain +1 instance of the village's traits, and we cannot, we just cannot betray a faction in truce. So the main benefit we have is by trying to create these sanctuaries. So, but we've got to surround them essentially with our own villages to then create the sanctuaries. So let's get started. I mean, that's probably something we are going to have to really try to focus on. So we're going to have to understand what's going on in the map fairly quickly and then sort of make those decisions. Let's just get started. Yes, we are going to confirm. And in we go. House of Kaz, base of operations is called Foliage, and the house head is the Archduchess Amanda Kaz. There we go. Now, the way the game works is that we are playing. Essentially, this is the map, the battle map that we're going to be playing on. This is the meta game, and so we're trying to do a few different things in here. We're either trying to capture the houses, the main homes of the different groups, or we are trying to you can see there, defeat House Atreides, defeat House Harkonnen. We only need to complete 2 of these objectives to win this particular campaign, or own up to 8 territories. We own 1 at this stage, or ally with the Fremen, whichever way we want to go with that as well. So there's a few different paths to victory. I'll talk about this other stuff as we sort of get into the game. It won't really make a hell of a lot of sense just yet. So let's go and if we go and click on our actual house slot, we can't do anything else. Click on there, get a faction bonus. Now these are random cards that come up, and we can then sort of figure out which one we want to go with, which will then dictate a lot as to how we then push the game along. So the first 100 votes placed on a charter for which House of Kaz is eligible are free. That's not bad. This is with the Landsraad. So this is like with the Galactic Council. Fascinating work. So minus 5% authority cost to annex a village per masterpiece in the region and its neighbours. Well, it can't be in the region, so it's got to be around its neighbours. That's not really as good as it sounds, I don't think. And then we have artful display. So plus 100% resource gained upon building a masterpiece. Ooh, again, that's not a bad one either. I might go the votes with the Landsraad and just sort of go that way, I think. So let's choose that as our starting point. We then actually it builds a random map around the North Pole. So this is the North Pole of Arrakis, which I don't think is icy at all. I think it's just the North Pole, and it's really only in the northern areas that you then end up having like the big sand deserts that's sort of down below, and so these areas here are not playable. So these are uncontrolled and not part of the actual game itself. So it's only a small portion of Arrakis where all the action takes place, which is around the North Pole. So these are like the massive sand dunes and so on and so forth. So in through here we have like a few different other areas. So each of these has got like a different ability. They've got different bonuses. Like this one's got spice production. This one here, for example, gives us it's a volcanic range. It gives us plus 20 fuel cells if we get control of that one through there. So reach the summit before your opponent and keep it under control. This is actually, and it does also have the thing, there's no spice in here. We need to sell fuel cells to the Cholm rather than spice. There's no sandworms in through there. And so hold the Great Volcano to gain plus 100 hegemony production, which wouldn't be bad actually. So we have to look at and see what the mission modifiers are going to be once we actually get these things. The only other one we've got a choice with is this one over through here, which is the False Wall East, which does give a bonus to spice production. Now I'll explain what spice is. I'll explain that again when we get into the actual game, but I won't go into great detail. Now the siege activity here is high, so that means the Fremen are going to be around a fair bit. The improvements we have is we're going to have plus 1 manpower production. We have Landsraad Embassy, so start every mission with 10 Landsraad standing, and then we have plus 3 fuel cells as well. So we must own the territory before we get the sort of a choice of those things or those improvements there. Yes, we need to gain sovereignty over this one, and we choose one bonus from this one. Just see what the other one gives us as well. Yeah, there's a lot to consider. Maybe we'll play this one simply because it's going to be a little bit different than the standard. This is more of like a standard type game. Having said that, it probably would be a good way to at least introduce the game. Like if you have never played Dune before, at least this way we're playing with the basic requirements that like we're going to be mining spice. That will be a major feature of what we're doing. Let's play this one because I think that will then introduce the base game. Even if you're not playing the conquest mode that we're playing, it will at least play out like a standard game to a degree. So that will do us. We will select that option there, and we need to then choose 2 councillors. So we have Sonia. For each sanctuary on the map, we gain 10 Solari production and minus 20% masterpiece construction cost. Each masterpiece produces 2 Solari. Now, that is like the main benefit of having her there is because of sanctuaries. Now, it's going to be hard for us to get sanctuaries, as I said. So I think we won't take Sonia. We've got Whitmore Blood, so we can name a second champion of a different type. And military units start with 1 more experience level. That wouldn't be bad to actually have the extra experience. Then we also have Elisa. So we can use Landstride immunity on a resolution to become uneligible, and we can gain 3 Landstride standing upon building a masterpiece. So that's actually not bad as well. That's actually something we possibly could go for. And then we have Misa, who is abandoning the village refunds for 100% of the authority capture cost, and every masterpiece in a neutral village. I didn't realise I could actually build them in neutral villages. That's actually interesting. Gives +3 authority production to House of Kaz. Masterpieces are built 100% faster. I think it's really the easy ones are these 2, and they do tell them they're easy. The other 2 are considered to be hard. It does make more sense to go that way for us at this point in time, but you can mix things up if you're wanting to. Secondary objective, avoid losing units. Okay, that's going to be important. And if we get this one, we gain 3 development assets, and pressure regresses by 5%. Pressure is this up through here. And so this goes backwards and forwards depending on what we do. And then back over here, we get to choose one of these. So let's just go with that one. So we'll try to avoid losing any units, and we'll just get started. So it says military and statecraft buildings have higher upkeep. Be sure not to build more than you can afford. So we do have to be careful of these things. Like we're going to have to start off by getting a lot of the economy buildings. So this is Alisa. It's in sort of saying, I don't want to bring our wars to these lands, but the false wall east is critical. We cannot let the other houses get to it first. We'll just close that. I'm going to pause again straight away. We need to start scouting. We need to also see where we are. If I either zoom out or press M and just get the map, we can then start to see where we actually are. So we actually have, you don't have to see it, but there's like a border that runs down through here, all the way out to this other side. And this is a fairly big map, actually. This is a very big map. Okay, this is actually quite a large area. So this will be quite a big fight. There is the territory with the spice field in it, so just due north of us. So we need to take that one pretty much straight away to be able to then pay off Choam and also their commitments to the Imperium with our taxation, with our spice tax. I mentioned again in episode 0 why there is a spice tax and how that all works. So yeah, please watch that again if you're needing to sort of know why there's all these things are happening. I did go into a fair bit of detail as to how the whole economy of the galaxy works around the spice of Dune. Let's just press M again and get back onto the actual map itself. So with it paused, I can sort of do anything. I can plan anything that I like. Let's just go through, I guess, what we're really looking for. Now, to gain hegemony over the false wall east, we need to have 15,000 hegemony. Hegemony is back over through here, and we get this essentially mainly through controlling regions. And so that's going to be fairly important. You can see there we also have the spice contract will also give us hegemony, so the more spice we can sort of give to Choam, the better that's going to be. And the craft workshops are also a way of sort of gaining these. Now, in this case, you can see there that the Fremen are also involved on this particular map. So they're actually active as a player, even though they're not a playable player. We've now got four houses essentially competing for this particular area, or 3 houses plus the Fremen. So we actually do have House Harkonnen and House Atreides, which are part of the base map. Back over through here, we can sort of see that really can only be one of the 3 that gains control of this. So we actually do have our house, House Harkonnen and House Atreides back and through there. And the secondary objective, of course, before was to avoid losing any units. So let's get started. We've got this. This is an ornithopter, which is essentially our flying sort of scout unit, and we're just going to go and I'm going to right-click into that territory where this actually is, and we'll start to sort of then look at everything there. I'm just going to turn off on the auto recon. I'm going to build myself a second ornithopter as well. So that one's going to be built, and I'm going to build myself 2 military as well. So I'm just going to go and recruit a squire unit, which is like a basic fighting unit. Nothing too tricky about that one, and a musketeer just to get some long range units. Now I can't build anything else there. It requires a recruitment centre, but that will essentially come very, very quickly. Or it should do, I think. Now we do need to pick this soon. Now this will be the village that it will then discover. I'm just going to go back to this one and just get it to discover the village first. I may sort of override its auto ability. There's the spice there. Okay, that's the village that we have to take over. I'll talk a little bit about villages as well. So I've got that ornithopter. Let's now have a look at... well, let's just see what else there is around us. So we'll just go into here. And yeah, these guys, yeah, we can now sort of get the recruit units, so we can actually now start to get a third unit as well. So I'm going to go and do that now. I'm going to grab a fencer just so we've got like a different type of unit. We're going to move these in. Now initially, one thing you might be wanting to do is just have a bit of a look to see what your expansion can be. Now when we go to the advanced outpost, we need to have this one unlocked at 2,500 hegemony. At the moment we're on 0. Now we'll get to that very, very quickly, and then I can talk a little bit about the advanced outposts and how they work. Back over through here we actually have Sandlon is a local group, and so this is going to only cost me 23 authority to ultimately take it over. And so we have a thing where we've got like a cost for the village. Also we have a cost for as many villages as we have, so it sort of escalates over time, and also the distance from our main base, and this comes off our authority cost up in through here. So the more villages we have, the more difficult it is for us to get other villages. But let's just go for this one here. This is an important one, of course. So we're just going to go now and attack the village. And I'm just going to come in with the secondary one just on the back there a little bit. It's a little bit far away. There we go. We're seeing other areas. This is a good little area for us. Now these often just have 2, maybe sometimes 3 defenders. Only 2. All right. So what we'll do is we'll just choose 1 to attack. That way we'll whittle 1 down. So we should be okay. By the way, we can sort of have a look and see what is going on through here. Ours is a basic sort of fighter. We've got 13 power. This is our health points. The armor that we have is 5, and the supply that we actually have. Now when we move out of the regions, our supply will go down. You can see there. So supply reflects the amount of provisions a unit has to survive on hostile territory. Can be replenished near ally villages. Water determines how much maximum supply units can get and how fast it replenishes. Now, if you've played the game up until about a week or so back, a lot of these things will actually be slightly different the way it sort of does work. So a lot of these no longer are drained off, consistently. Some of them actually are, but manpower, for example, has changed. Water has changed. I think a few of the other ones have changed as well. I'll talk about these as we get into it. So as we're building units, by the way, sorry, I did mean to show that. As we build a unit, there is actually a manpower cost in here. And so we can sort of see that this one's going to cost me 30, that one's going to cost me 30, this one's going to cost me 40 to sort of get one of these. I haven't unlocked these yet, so I can't do anything with those. So that comes off my manpower. Now I have a base rate of 4 manpower that does come in. Manpower is important, and we want to ultimately be able to get through without losing too many even units from the actual units themselves, like too many men from the units. Let's just keep it going. Now, as we go through, these guys in through here, we can see as well, these have got 14 power. They've got lower health, and they also have supply. So ours has got the only 13 power. So ours aren't as powerful as the villagers, the local militia. But we also then have a couple of we've got a little bit of an extra boost with our why is that attacking that one there? That should be all attacking this one. Now we should have the other one now. Nearly. Still coming.
We got the big game rifles.
We need to overcome this one before. Yeah, we've sort of now gotten in front of the health points. Our supplies are going down as well. All right, so we've now taken this one. I'll just pause here and just explain a bit what's going on. So we've now defeated the militia that was actually back at Sandlon. Sandlon itself also then has a couple of other benefits. One is connection, so plus 30% agent recruitment speed, which is great. That's just a base rate that we actually have by having Sandlon. And we also then have youthful eagerness, so plus 1 recruitment office limit. So we can end up getting more troops from here if we needed to, or more manpower. Plus 20% recruitment office resource production as well. So this is going to be wanting to feed our armies once we actually do take control of it. So we now use authority. So we've got 71 authority. And this one requires 23 authority to then go and take it. So we'll now just go and capture the city. So I'll just get both of these on board. Now once we're inside and doing this one, we then have the ability now to go and take it. So we'll now annex it. And it's going to be very, very short to actually annex it. In the meantime, we now have another village back over through here. And we have another ornithopter back over this other side. Let's just go this way. Turn auto recon on there. This one is now in the next territory back over this other side, and just sort of seeing what else it can spot. I'll talk a little bit about resources again fairly soon. Now if there's more, this is cool. This is very, very close to our capital, which is actually fairly ideal, I've got to say. So let's just move down to there. Now, Sandlon has now just come on our side. So there's a sandworm detected. This is a sandworm in here. This is actually where our fighter was. If you stay on the sand, the sandworms will come. These are monstrously large. We don't want to be around where they actually are. We'll see a few different things now happening. Now that we've taken Sandlon, you'll notice that the actual hit points of this unit are now increasing. I'll just pause that again, just so you can sort of see it. But the health is going up, but at the cost of our manpower. So our manpower is being drained by this particular instance. So that's actually what's happening in through there. We now actually have the next unit as well. So we don't want to be walking across where the sandworms were. In fact, the sandworms have now gone. And we can now start our development research. Now, it does take the game just happens at a nice pace, typically, and then until you sort of get into probably the start of the middle game, then it becomes a bit more interesting. Now I'm going to go and select this one for checking out to see what's going on over there. Over through here we have minerals. Now minerals allow us to create what are called plascrete factories, and this plascrete is our main building resource. So I'll maybe just go through the resources now as we look at them. We have Solari, which is our main money resource. We can see there that the armies take upkeep, the ornithopters take upkeep. We do actually, as we get spice, we can then sell it and replenish it that way. And we also then just have a base amount of plus 80 coming in as well. But a lot of different things will cost us Solari over time. So just be aware of that. Some buildings will cost some Solari. The plascrete is used for building. So when we go into Sandlon, I'll just go back into here, and we'll then have a look at what Sandlon can do. Now we know that Sandlon, again, is very good at recruitment officers, but it may not be exactly what we needed initially. We can go back there eventually. The first thing we need to do is we need to go and make use of the spice that's over here. Now the sandworms will still be around in that area as well, but to set up a spice mining operation in here, we need to go to our buildings, and we then need to go to the economy buildings, and we then have options to build a refinery, and you can only build these if you actually control spice in that region. So we're going to build a refinery. We're just going to build it on the edge here somewhere, like over here perhaps. So that will then be built, and then a harvester will then come once the refinery is built. So that's an important start for us. Back in through here, they're still getting their manpower, so we'll let that actually occur. Let them sort of now go off and do their own thing. Oh, sorry, we've got the development research. Now, what do we want? Water will be important to us. This has changed a lot in this version of the game, by the way. So if you've played it before, I'm thinking of going straight through and getting the extra plascrete production, which is quite valuable, but then coming straight across into here and getting the filtration systems where I can actually then go and get we get +2 spice production per positive water and unlocks the wind trap village building. This one will give me better spice production. It will also give me better water production. On the way through to get that one, this is a House of Kaz only technology, but we gain we gain 100 Solari upon building a masterpiece. So that would be good as well because we're going to be wanting to build those. So let's just go and select that, which will then give me a chain of things that need to be built this way. So let's go and do that one initially. That will get our economy sort of working. I won't go into too much detail about all of that just yet. Oops, hang on, just unpause. So this military unit is now just checking out this area. Here we go. Over through here we've got rare elements. So this one will allow us to then essentially build a processing plant, which will then give us even more Solari, which will actually be valuable. So that'll allow us to have better growth, and this is very, very close to our capital. So we have 55 authority. We have plascrete, which is probably our next most important resource, to be honest. And this one's going to cost me 32. So you can see there, we now actually have the village itself is 20, like sort of what we saw there before. We've got the owned villages now is adding another 10 onto the actual mix itself. And then we have the distance from the main base is another 2. So we're starting to get up there with the authority. So we're only getting +4 authority. So we will need to try to boost that authority up if we want to sort of capture more areas. By the way, you'll also notice that we're now picking up 650 hegemony, and we get that one by controlling that region. Now we can see back over here that House of Treaties has also hit the same amount. So when we hover over hegemony, we can see that the Fremen, House of Treaties, and House of Kaz have all taken their first area, but House of Conan has not done that yet. Don't worry too much about falling behind or ahead with these initially. That will sort itself out over the course of the game. All right, let's just unpause. I'm going to now move this one down, or both of these down, to take this one.
Our lives are yours.
Might just hover off to the edge there a little bit, actually.
We can see to the horizon.
I won't attack it just yet. I'll just wait until we get this one. We'll have enough to be able to take it. So we're losing supply in here. Alright, so now we actually have this point of interest has been investigated. This will give me another 434 Solari. We'll just investigate it, a crash shuttle. Okay, that's now done. Let's go and get this thing sorted. So we'll go and attack. Now, there's just, all they've got is 2 ranged units. So we're just going to go and select these to go and hit those. That one there, hit a ranged unit, and then this one here as well, just to come back through and attack. This will be fairly simple for us. This thing's still checking everything out around here. Our supplies are starting to dwindle. And there's no point really taking villages until you have the resources to be able to deal with them. Okay, that's now done, and we can now go and grab this one. We must have a military unit nearby, which we do. So we'll just go back into there. There we are. Now we have a choice of either pillaging and getting Solari from this village, or we can actually annex. Now we want to be annexing pretty much, will be what we'll be trying to do in here. Pillaging is good when you're on the borders and you're trying to sort of diminish the returns that somebody else might get from those villages. But we're just going to annex this particular village again. So our authority has now gone down to 33. Let's have a look and see what this one is. This one is actually 30. It's 20. Actually, the own village will go up to 40 essentially in here. This is extremely close. It's on the same piece of rock as our other village. Now we don't have to. We have to keep 1 unit in here. Let's just move back and just get these guys replenished.
Alert and ready to strike. Walking is good exercise.
Okay, now I don't think I'll bother with another Ornithopter just yet. It's only 5 upkeep, and I do want to get my Solari working fairly well. Now back over through here, we've almost got this thing built, the refinery. Will then come up at the top when it does. Not sure why that did that. I think I may have accidentally pushed the pause. Oh no, it came up. Basically, it's now. It didn't tell me what it was doing, but essentially this is now the harvester. So we have a harvester now for the that can go and harvest the spice. Now I won't get too tricky with this just yet, but we're just going to tell it to deploy. And so request a pickup from a carryall to send this unit to work, and it will then be sent out to the spice fields. Now, one thing you may want to do is turn on the auto recall. When a sandworm comes, the auto recall will then, the carrier will come, pick it back up, rescue it, but then you have to go back in again and then do the actual physical deployment. So let's just go and turn that one on. You can see there through there, it's now autonomous. We can actually go and place an additional crew in there where we get plus 15% spice production. So add a crew to this harvester, which is going to cost me another 40 of my manpower. I think I'm going to do it because this is very, very important to me. So we've got the extra crew member, and that will then just give me much better spice production. We can look at what happens over here as things happen. Let's just unpause. This should be a fairly safe one for us, ultimately. In the meantime, our ornithopters are checking other regions out. So the ornithopter then drops the harvester on the spice field. And then the harvester will now start to mine the spice. So we've got a mining rate of plus 27, so it's just going to keep on doing that one. Now I'll just have a look at these other ones. We've now got this new village is controlled. We'll come back to that one in just a minute. Composite materials is also completed in our tech, but we're on to the next one already. And so we can now get the extra plascrete that we sort of saw there before. So if we go back into these, we now actually have composite materials. So unlocks the maintenance center village building, which can be important for sort of like central buildings. So we'll have a look at that as well. There's a lot of things in this game. It really is, it's a game with simple mechanics, but done in an expanded way. Now you'll see through here, our hegemony is now up to 1.3. So still not enough for us to make use of this. So this is unlocked at 2,500. Some of the smaller maps, this will unlock very, very quickly, and then we can then start to build in here, but we can't do that just yet. Yep, so this will now start to get the spice, and we'll start to get like a stockpile of spice coming back in. Now we can sell more of it to Chom if we wanted to, but we're now going to have a little bit of extra income coming in because of the spice. So spice is incredibly important, and as I said in episode 0, explaining that spice is not just your nutmegs and cinnamons, it's a special resource that allows the space skill to be able to then travel through hyperspace. So it's very, very important. All right, we now have this one. Let's just go back into here. Now, this one does come with with this minerals. So plus 100% plascrete factory resource production. So from here, we can actually go and pick up the plascrete and get even more. Look, we're getting plus 40 at the moment, but we can pick up more of it. So if we just come back in and look at the buildings. And the buildings in through here. In fact, I didn't finish off this one properly. I'll have to go back and do that one as well. But this one here, you can see that there'll be a plascrete factory. And so we can actually do this one. This one's going to give us very, very good plascrete production. So we'll just go across. This one it's got an upkeep of 20 Solari to actually keep this thing operational. But it's so important. So I'm just going to go and place this one somewhere in around here. That will then do. So that will be our factory. Back over through here, I didn't create any militia. It's worthwhile having at least some presence, even though they might be close to your home base, which is sort of, I should be okay initially with my militia. I've only got 39 manpower. I might just go into here. I'll just grab one basic militia there. And so this will then build up so that if it does get attacked, at least it's got some protection. But we're going to need to go back in and supplement that with our actual forces. And we'll go to Aldar as well and just do the same in through here. It's not so critical on these core areas. This one here may be a bit more simply because of the spice resource that's very important to us. The next thing we want to do is we want to get this one in through here. Now we can see there that this is now 43. Because of the owned villages, we now have a plus 23 on top. We're 41 at the moment, so by the time we get there, that's all going to be fine. So let's just move across. By the way, we can actually now go and build another building in here as well. So we've now got the refinery. This one here, we're really looking for youthful eagerness and the recruitment office, which we may or may not be able to do. If we have a bit of a look at the military, there's a recruitment office there. So this one requires 2 water. At the moment we've got 16. Every time we build a building, it essentially has got like a cost of water that we have to then sort of allow for, and then an upkeep. This one's also another 20 upkeep. So it's going to start to drain our Solari fairly quickly. But we do get a plus 3.6 manpower production, and at this location with these extra bonuses, that's going to be very, very useful. So let's go and set this one up. Or do we want to go with more plascrete? Initially, our manpower is weak. I think I will throw one of these in. So I'm just going to go and throw like a manpower area back in through there. So that will build that one. That one is still building what it's building. Let's just unpause. Bring these across, and we're basically going to be ready at this time. So let's just go and move these across. We'll claim Hayasek as well.
1 for parry and 1 for strike. You'd kill for a bit of shade.
The night cycles that we're sort of seeing through here don't really make any real difference. It's just cosmetic. So I think it is anyway. Just going to go and hit that one as well. Now we should, it's close enough for our main base to start firing and impacting the fights. This is an easy fight for us. Just have to make sure that we're over the 44 authority to then sort of gain this one here. There we go, nice and easy. All right, then we come back in and we take this one. Now we can spend the 43, we've got 46, so we'll do that, and we'll annex this one as well. So now we're going to be sort of slowing down a little bit from this point forward, for the simple reason we don't actually have a lot of authority left to sort of to continue our expansion. There are little areas like this. Eventually we'll sort of get hold of those. Everything else is looking good. We're getting the stockpile. We have to have 80 to pay the Imperium, and the expected stocks here are really quite high. Eventually it comes. Here we go. This is probably where I want to sort of end this particular episode. We've sort of, this will then. I'll show you how the agents work, and then we'll do a bit of a summary. I don't know if when we get the Landsfront councils. Okay, that starts in 9 more days, which is a little way off. If we just go to the agents. Now the way that the agents work is that you've got agents come up through here. You can have up to 10 different agents, and the new ones will just come at a certain time. Now we're going to have more agents than anyone else because of that other village. At the moment we think that's going to be the case anyway. So we'll be able to then start to sort of use these ones fairly well. Now Girid is a psychologist, so this unit produces 20% more intel. So if we can get this one where it can generate intel, we're going to get better information coming back. Now there's different places we can place an agent. We can place them where they actually start to look at specific houses to see how they're going. And so in this case you can sort of see we have 0 information levels at the moment for House of Treaties. So each agent increases the maximum level and speed of the increase. Agents assigned to this field will produce intel of +3. So that's important to sort of know. Information's unlocked per information level, so unrecon borders, so all production of recon villages. So we start to get more information. So I think if one of the factions starts to dominate, you can see over here everyone's at the same level at this stage, but if anyone starts to actually dominate, then we'll probably have to sort of put in the those like somebody into whichever faction it's going to be then going into. Anyway, so we can get like assassination missions and things eventually as well. Back over through here, this is sort of like into the broader areas of where they're going to be operating. So you can either operate within Arrakis. This will give us +1 authority and +1 intel. So agents assigned on this field will receive the following traits. So Arrakis agents can be used to resolve certain discoveries. So this can just help with this way. But the big thing is this is how we can get more authority a bit faster. The Spacing Guild is manpower and intel. The Choam, or the like the trading type guild, is the It will give us 10 Solari plus intel, and also Landsraad in through here as well will give us influence and intel, essentially is the way it sort of does work. Now initially, with her being a psychologist, it's sort of one of these things where the intel would be good to use it against one of these other factions, just to get the intel +3, but I really, really want this authority. The other thing over through here are specific missions that they can be sent on, where it reveals all info, and these use up the intel, which is shown where. There's a probe set up, reveals all information and units in the region. It does cost intel. I thought it was up in here somewhere that intel was shown. Maybe it's not. Anyway, maybe it's just the amount of time it takes. Anyway, that's going to be something where you've got different things you can do through here. Actually, we must have 50 somewhere. We must have 50 intel. You can also put them into counterintelligence as well. I love the tooltips. Like it really does, show you everything you can do. But in this case, we do need to have we need to have intel, and so we have insufficient Arrakis information level. So eventually we're going to be able to do things if we put an agent back in Arrakis, which is sort of where I want to start anyway, just to get the authority. So I'm going to move her across into there. There we do get, you can see there the intel, we're getting +1 and a +0.2 base. So I can always move her back across into one of these other ones eventually. But let's just leave her there for now. And we'll leave the espionage there. At the moment, we have the hegemony. You can see there that all the great houses are now at 1,300. We've all sort of claimed the same number. Have I got the... Yeah, this one is coming, so we'll actually jump to the lead once we actually get this one. And I don't know if that'll take us to the 2,500. I don't think it will. No, it won't, actually. I'm pretty sure. So we should see a bit of a boost. There we are. So I'll just pause that again and we'll have a bit of a look. So we've now zoomed up to 1,900. One more village and we'll then be able to open up the building, which we'll do in the next episode of the Advanced Outpost. But we do need to get our authority up because we need to now find another location where we can go and do something. Let's have a look. I mean, this one's not too bad. Former smugglers and scientists are there as well. Actually, what do we have on this one here? Haystack, we didn't look at this one. So +2 intel production when the village has at least one building of each type. Okay, that's interesting for us. And we also have industria, so +1 plascrete factory limit and +20% plascrete factory resource production. So again, plascrete, very, very important to us. Back in through here we actually have the rare elements, so it allows the construction of a processing plant. That will then give us a boost to our Solari, I think, if we have a quick look. So we have certain things will only be unlocked depending on the resources in the region. So the processing plant is in through here. +20 Solari production. So there is a 4 Solari upkeep, but that does give us a bit of a boost. Now, the fact that plascrete at the moment, you can see there we're sort of running out of plascrete with everything we're sort of doing. Let's just go and build another one of those initially. So we'll just get that one established. But eventually we're going to be wanting to get one of each, so we can end up getting this this one through here, the analysis, the +2 intel production. Where is the intel? There it is over here. Yeah, so this is the espionage. So we've now opened up the espionage is now open. The research is now open, but the Landsraad Council is not yet, so I can't actually open that one. But there's the intel back over this other side. Okay, guys, well, I think I might leave this episode here. That sort of then takes us into, like you can see, we've now sort of just leapt ahead a little bit. Yeah, so, I mean, we're just slightly ahead of everyone. 1,900. So we just have to keep on trying to expand, but we also have to develop these up. The other factions will probably be more sort of trying to develop their holdings up, more so than trying to expand, like we're trying to expand at the moment. There's not a lot we can sort of see. That's a bit of a wasted area in through there. This one here isn't bad. This is sort of towards the middle of the map. This one here isn't bad as well. It's sort of like off in the edge. Yeah, I'm going to have to also look to try to surround something at some point. Either one of these, I'm guessing it just comes down to what sort of bonus we end up getting. This is another one of these ones where we get the extra plascrete. We have ingenious minds, so plus 20% economy buildings, resource production. That would be really quite nice. Plus we have, that's great for plascrete. This is a very, very good one. And you can see it's got like 3 militia units defending that one. What's that one going to cost us to take over? 75. Okay, so we've got a long way to go before we can take that one. This one over through here is also got 3 units protecting it, and it costs 70, so it's about the same. This one did have the former smugglers, so plus 10% resources from pillaging villages and sieges, which is not going to really be doing if we can help it, and plus 1 research hub limit, so we can get more research from there if we took that one. We'd also get more Solari production. But this is by far the more valuable one, and this will be an interesting one because it's sort of going to be, it's going to be in the middle of the map where there will be some fighting taking place, so we'll need to protect this one fairly well. Like each area, not each faction, but each region really does have its own feel about it, which is really quite nice. We'll leave them where they are. That's all okay. And I think we'll just leave this episode here, guys. So thanks for watching. I'll catch you in the next episode. In the next episode, just to talk a little bit about that one, we'll be essentially trying to establish as much as we possibly can with our economy by building up these 3. We should ultimately get this one as well, which will then open up this for us to then start to develop the advanced outpost. So that will be sort of what we aim for in the next episode. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you then.